Hello, my name is David S. Pederson, and I am the author of the Heath Barrington murder mysteries. 4 have been published so far. The 5th one, which will be Death Overdue, is out this July. And I'm going to be reading today from the 4th book, which is Death Takes a Bow. And this scene takes place at the cast party in the home of Oliver Crane, who's the director. And it's set in the kitchen, and Dick, who is Jasmine Rowe's ward, Jasmine Rowe is the star of the play, is in the kitchen. He's been talking with our heroes, Heath Barrington and Alan Keyes, and also with Shelby Burkett, who is another star of the play and Jasmine Rowe's nemesis. And the scene starts with Jasmine Rowe entering the kitchen. "Dickie, what are you doing in here? And why are you talking to him?" Jazz stood in the doorway of the kitchen, arms up, holding onto the doorframe. "I was just talking to Alan and Mr. Barrington here, and I was also asking Mr. Burkett about his ring," Dick said. Jazz's complexion darkened ever so slightly. She glared at Burkett. "I ought to cut your fat little finger off to get my ring back." "I'm sure you would, given the chance. Don't worry, I'm going to fix myself a green dragon, since no one else seems capable, and then I'll mingle amongst my fans and give them a thrill." He went to the counter and started to work on his concoction, looking for all the world like a mad scientist, as we watched him pour dark, mysterious liquids from various bottles into a shaker. Jazz, not one to be ignored, cleared her throat loudly, and the 3 of us turned back to her, still standing in the doorway. "Do you notice anything wrong with me, Dickie?" "No," Dick said, finally. "I'm not holding a cocktail. Be a good boy and get me one. And don't forget the sugar cube." "I never forget the sugar cube. You wouldn't let me," he said, as he got a bottle of champagne and Jazz came in. Up close, she smelled of sweat, and her breath was foul. "You're Heath Barrington, the detective. I met you at the theater yesterday." "That's right, just after the poison scene." "Ugh, the one that idiot keeps screwing up." She glared again in Shelby's direction. "I heard that, Jazz. Of course, the entire city probably heard it. You were meant to hear it. Get your green dragon and get out." "I've got it, and I'm going. One green dragon coming through," he said as he pushed past us, "and one big-mouthed, fat-ass dragon staying here." He disappeared into the depths of the living room before Jazz could reply. "Big-mouthed, fat-ass dragon? How dare he? I'm sorry you had to suffer in here with him for company." "Don't be. I find him rather entertaining," I said. "I suppose fools generally are that. He finally got his death scene right today at the last rehearsal. We'll see how he does tomorrow night." "I hope all goes well. Do you mind me asking about your first name, Miss Monroe? It's unusual." She smiled, showing the lipstick on her teeth. "It's not so unusual, really. It's short for Jasmine. Jazz just sounds more theatrical, don't you think, detective?" "Yes, it's quite catchy. Most memorable." "Thank you. Are you coming to opening night?" "Yes, I'm looking forward to it." "How lovely. Dickie, what's taking you so long? That idiot concocted his green dragon faster than you can make a simple champagne cocktail." "Sorry," Dick said as he returned with a glass. "I had to open a fresh bottle, and I had trouble with the cork." "You're such a boy. Never send a boy to do a man's job. Isn't that what they say?" she said, taking the glass from him. "Oh, and look, here's our Eve." As Eve Holloway entered the kitchen, Dick's face brightened considerably. "Hello, Jazz," she said dryly. "Dear Eve, you missed your mark in rehearsal today." "Did I?" "You know you did. You're supposed to stand just behind me when I'm facing the fireplace. You came up and intentionally stood next to me, blocking me from the audience." "There wasn't an audience. It was a rehearsal." "Potential audience, then," she smiled thinly. You're so wide, I don't think it's possible to block a view of you. Careful, Eve. Why? Am I going to end up like Nick Schultz? What's that supposed to mean? Just that he broke his arm falling into the orchestra pit when he accidentally blocked you. He didn't fall, I pushed him. Is that what you're getting at? Your words, not mine. Just don't get in my way. Hello, Mrs. Holloway, Dick said. Oh, hello, Dick, she said, glancing down at him. I didn't see you there. Can I get you a drink? I could use one. A sidecar, please, and make it a double. Sure, you bet, Dick said, going to the counter on the other side of the kitchen. Try to remember who's the star of this show, Eve, Jazz said. Like you'd ever let anyone forget, Eve said as Dick returned with her drink. Here's your drink. I hope it's to your liking. She took it from him without a glance. Thanks. I'm sure it's fine. Now, if you'll excuse me, she turned to leave. There's not much of an excuse for you, darling. You're a passable actress, attractive, and you have a nice caboose. But you have terrible taste in men, Jazz said. At least I have a man, Jazz. I believe you've never married. I don't need a man. I've gotten by just fine by myself, and I've made quite a career for myself. I'm married to the theater. With the theater as a husband, I guess you'll never need anyone else. Shut up! Did I touch a nerve, Jazz? No more than Shelby the cat touched yours. Eve glared at her. I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about. Excuse me, Eve said. She brushed past us and went back into the living room. Eve Holloway, pretty little thing, but deadly, Jazz said. I cocked my head. What do you mean? Ask Shelby, she said with a smirk. If you want to know what happens next, please read the book, Death Takes a Bow, and please watch for my 5th book, Death Overdue, coming this July. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a great day.